The red status bar flashed across the conference room screen the moment I removed my approval from the launch file. 42 clinic sites changed from ready to on hold, and my boss's face drained of color. "Put your name back on it," Martin said. He still believed I was the quiet employee who would protect his daughter, fix the project, and accept whatever title he offered. What he didn't know was that the folder beside my laptop held 7 months of proof and one email showing exactly why I had been offered that promotion. 3 months earlier, I would have called Martin Hale the best boss I'd ever had. "My name is Ethan Cole. I was 34 and worked as a senior product strategy manager at Northstar Health Systems, a medical software company in Denver. I had been there 7 years, and Martin had managed me for nearly 6. He hired me after a reorganization ended my previous job. I moved across the country and accepted less money because he promised real ownership instead of making me another slide deck guy in a glass tower. For years he seemed to mean it. Every Monday at 7:30, I brought coffee to his office, and we reviewed the week before anyone else arrived. He drank his black, forgot it on the windowsill, and reheated it twice. That ordinary routine made our relationship feel like a partnership. Martin knew my family. He sent flowers when my father had surgery and defended me during budget cuts. I trusted him partly because of that history, and partly because of my biggest weakness. I avoided conflict until avoiding it became more painful than facing it. I called that patience. Most of the time, it was fear of making a scene. For 2 years I had been building Beacon, a scheduling and follow-up platform for regional clinics. Missed appointments were costing clients millions. Beacon used reminders, staffing forecasts, and patient preference data to reduce those losses. The idea began on my legal pad during a clinic visit in Omaha. I designed the pilot, recruited the internal team, wrote the business case, and convinced 3 clinic groups to test it. I postponed an MBA because the launch conflicted with classes. I worked through 2 holiday seasons and covered an analyst vacancy for 4 months. I also used relationships I had spent years building to secure discounted research support. Martin kept saying, "Get Beacon across the line and the director role is yours." I believed him. The imbalance was easy to miss. Martin praised me privately but blurred my role publicly. In executive meetings he said "my group" instead of my name. Afterward, he would clap my shoulder and insist everyone important knew who had done the work. I confused private praise with public credit. Then his daughter joined the company. Chloe Hale was 28 and had spent 3 years in brand consulting. Martin said she had gone through the normal hiring process, and technically she reported to another vice president. Still, within 2 weeks she was attending Beacon meetings, despite having no product experience. At first she was pleasant and asked smart questions. Martin asked me to bring her up to speed for a few meetings. Soon, she was in every meeting. Chloe began presenting my slides in cross-functional reviews. She changed colors, shortened the wording, and added marketing language. Martin praised her for making the strategy accessible. I noticed. I said nothing. The first real warning came when Priya Shah, our operations lead, stopped me after a meeting. "Why did Chloe call Beacon her initiative?" she asked. "She probably meant the launch campaign." Priya studied me. "That isn't what she said." Priya was not automatically on my side. She challenged everyone, including me, and once called my rollout plan optimistic to the point of fiction. That was why her concern stayed with me. 2 weeks later, Martin invited me to the quarterly leadership event. Beacon had beaten its targets. Missed appointments fell 18%, clinic call volume dropped 11%, and one client estimated annual savings of $1.4 million. I assumed Martin would announce my promotion. The first sign something was wrong was the printed program on my chair. Under Innovation Spotlight, it read, "Beacon, from Consumer Insight to Clinical Impact, presented by Chloe Hale." My name appeared near the back under Project Contributors, between a short-term contractor and an intern. When Chloe walked on stage, she opened with a story from my Omaha visit. She described the overworked receptionist, the handwritten appointment board, and a night shift patient who had missed 3 follow-ups. She told it as if she had been there. Then she presented my business case, pilot design, and forecast model. The wording had changed, but one typo remained on slide 12. I had made it at 1:14 in the morning months earlier. Martin sat at the front table, smiling. At the end, the CEO thanked Chloe for seeing an opportunity others had missed. People applauded. Someone behind me whispered that Martin's daughter was clearly headed for senior leadership. Afterward, I found Martin in a side hallway. "What was that?" I asked. "Not here." "Then where?" "My office tomorrow." "Ethan, don't turn a good night into a problem." Chloe approached holding the glass award. I hope you're not upset. Dad thought the story needed one clear face. One clear face? Martin stepped between us. You're the builder. Chloe's the communicator. That's how leadership works. I wrote the strategy she presented. And you'll be rewarded. I asked why my name had been removed from the lead credit. Because you're acting like the work only matters if everyone claps for you, he said. That isn't what I said. Chloe exhaled. You're making this weird. Then Martin said the sentence I would replay for weeks. You build the ladder, Chloe gets to climb it. He said it like a practical truth, something I should feel proud of. I'm only being honest, he added. You're excellent behind the scenes. She has executive presence. 2 directors passed us. One slowed down, heard enough to understand, then kept walking. I asked if Martin planned to correct the record. Everyone who matters knows you contributed. Contributed, not led, not created. Chloe glanced at her phone. Can we not do this tonight? This is a big moment for me. That was when I understood neither of them believed anything had been taken from me. In their minds, my work had simply been transferred to the person they thought deserved the spotlight. I left without saying goodbye. I sat in the hotel garage for almost 40 minutes. I put the key in the ignition twice and never turned it. My hands shook against the steering wheel. I was angry, but I was also ashamed. How many times had Martin minimized me because he knew I would not challenge him? How many promises had I accepted without asking for anything in writing? You build the ladder, Chloe gets to climb it. When I finally drove home, I missed my exit by 6 miles. The next morning, a blue folder waited on Martin's desk. For one hopeful second, I thought it contained an apology. He pushed it toward me. Congratulations, Director of Strategic Execution. The salary increase was $28,000, with a larger bonus target and a small stock grant. It was more money than I had ever earned. Then I saw the reporting structure. The role reported to Chloe, who would become Vice President of Growth Programs. I would lead implementation for strategic concepts developed by the Growth Office, certify Beacon's readiness, manage client escalations, and prepare Chloe for executive reviews. The promotion was not a reward. It was a containment plan. You want me to report to her? I asked. She needs someone strong operationally. She has never launched a product. That's why this is a partnership. A partnership where she gets credit and I get execution. You're focusing on wording. Martin lowered his voice. This solves yesterday. No. It pays me to pretend yesterday didn't happen. His face tightened. Be careful. He told me to take the weekend, but the acceptance deadline was 5 o'clock that afternoon. Compensation changes would be announced Monday. They expected shock, gratitude, and silence. I closed the folder and pushed it back. I'm refusing the promotion. Martin blinked. Don't be emotional. I'm not accepting responsibility for Chloe's decisions while she takes credit for my work. You're walking away from $28,000. I'm walking away from being her cleanup crew. He stood. You're damaging your career over one presentation. No. You told me exactly how you see my career. He waited for me to soften. I usually did. This time I said, I built the ladder. I'm done holding it steady. Then I left the folder on his desk. For the first hour, I felt relieved. By lunch, I was terrified. I had no other offer. My mortgage was manageable but tight, and my father's surgery had drained most of my emergency savings. Priya found me in a conference room. Did you really turn it down? Yes. Without negotiating? It wasn't a real promotion. She sat opposite me. Maybe. But don't make this about pride. What exactly are you protecting? It was a fair question. My name and my responsibility. They want me accountable for a strategy Chloe claims she created. Then prove it, Priya said. Martin is already telling people you rejected leadership because you can't collaborate. By mid-afternoon, coworkers were treating me differently. One manager said I had put Martin in an impossible position. Another said Chloe brought fresh energy and I should be less territorial. A colleague I had mentored for years pulled me aside near the elevators. He said, "Take the title, Ethan. Nobody remembers who made the first deck once the numbers come in." He meant it as practical advice, but it landed like a warning. If I accepted, Martin's version would become company history. If I refused, I might become the difficult employee who could not move on. For the first time I understood why Martin had made the offer so generous. Either choice protected him unless I could prove the sequence. At 4:12, Martin emailed the leadership group. He said I had declined an expanded role because of concerns about shared ownership. He thanked Chloe for originating the Beacon growth concept. Attached was a revised project history listing Chloe as executive sponsor from January onward. She had joined in February. That small error proved the story had been rewritten. I saved the email in the Approved Employee Records folder and opened Beacon's workspace. The version history showed I created the first strategy document 14 months earlier. My name appeared on 183 revisions. Chloe's first edit was 9 weeks before the event. I took screenshots, but part of me still wondered whether I was overreacting. Then Chloe messaged me, "I don't know why you're sabotaging this. Dad stuck his neck out for you for years. The least you could do is help me get established." I replied, "I'll complete my current duties. I won't accept false credit or report to you under a role built on it." Her answer came immediately. "This is exactly why Dad said you'd never be the face of anything." That evening, Martin called 6 times. I answered the 7th. "You embarrassed Chloe. I refused a job. You made it personal. You gave her my project. She improved the story. She claimed she created it." He sighed. "You make everything about recognition, and you make recognition disappear when it belongs to me." His voice cooled. "Think carefully about your future here." I asked if that was a threat. "It's advice." After the call, doubt hit hard. Maybe I should have taken the money and fixed the credit later. Maybe I looked difficult. Maybe the work mattered more than the title. Then Priya forwarded a Monday meeting invite. Beacon Transition and Risk Review. Chloe was chair. I was listed as implementation support. The agenda included one line that made my stomach drop. "Confirm Ethan's readiness certification before client rollout." They still expected my signature. I was the named product owner in the implementation plans. My certification did not give me control over the company, but it required me to confirm that testing, staffing, and escalation systems were complete. If I signed falsely and the launch failed, my name would be attached. I opened the dashboard. 3 critical items were red. Call center training was 62% complete. Data migration had failed at 2 clinic groups. The weekend escalation contract was unsigned. Chloe had also moved the launch forward by 10 days to align with an industry conference. Why was she rushing a system she barely understood? The answer came Monday. Priya asked why the date had changed. "The conference gives us a visibility window," Chloe said. "The platform isn't ready," I replied. Martin cut in. "It will be. The vendor agreement isn't signed. We're finalizing it. The migration test failed at 2 of 5 pilot groups." Chloe folded her arms. "This is why I need people focused on solutions, not obstacles." Then she displayed a launch slide with her headshot beside the words "Creator of Beacon." I stopped arguing and started documenting. That afternoon, I reviewed emails, meeting notes, project logs, and signed pilot plans. I saved only employment records, authorship evidence, and readiness documents permitted by company policy. The numbers were clear. Beacon's approved rollout budget was $2.6 million. Chloe's accelerated conference sponsorship cost $180,000. The unfinished support contract was worth $420,000 over 2 years. The contract required 10 business days for final staffing. Chloe had allowed 4. Priya remained skeptical. "Refusing the promotion is one thing," she said. "Holding the launch is another. Are you sure this isn't revenge?" "I'm not holding it. I'm refusing to certify work that isn't complete." "Would you have signed if Martin had credited you?" I had to think. 2 months ago, maybe. I might have convinced myself we could fix it after launch. Priya nodded. "Then your anger may be making you more responsible, but someone neutral needs to see this." That person was Daniel Reed, North Star's chief operating officer. He had praised Chloe at the event and had no reason to favor me. I requested 15 minutes and attached only the readiness risks. Daniel gave me 20. He read the migration report. "Why did the date move?" "Chloe changed it." "Who approved it?" "Martin." "Did the client approve?" "They were told we had passed readiness review." Daniel looked up. "Have we?" "No." He requested a full timeline by Wednesday and told me not to sign anything I could not support. He also warned me not to turn the review into a personal grievance. The next day, Martin issued a formal performance concern accusing me of withholding cooperation and resisting leadership changes. It included a quote supposedly from Priya, "Ethan has become emotionally attached to Beacon and struggles to share control." I showed it to her. "I never said that. Will you put that in writing?" She hesitated. "I'll state what I actually said." Her email confirmed that I had continued my duties and that she had warned leadership not to move the launch date until staffing was complete. Then she showed me an older email chain Martin had accidentally copied her on during Chloe's onboarding. Martin had written, Once Beacon lands, Chloe can own the narrative. Ethan will accept the execution director role if the package is strong enough. An HR partner asked whether I had been consulted. Martin replied, "Not yet. He's loyal and dislikes conflict. Better to present a finished structure." The email was dated 6 weeks before the award event. The promotion had been planned as leverage before the credit was taken. Martin had counted on my weakness. You build the ladder, Chloe gets to climb it. By Thursday, Chloe had posted internally about leading Beacon from concept to launch. Dozens of employees congratulated her. I almost responded, but saved a screenshot instead. Martin called me into his office and changed tactics. "Let's reset," he said warmly. "Take the promotion. We'll adjust the reporting line after launch. Put that in writing. You know executive structures evolve. Then no. You're forcing me to document insubordination. I'm doing my current job. You're refusing a reasonable directive. I'm refusing to certify false readiness." He tapped his desk. "This is about your bruised ego." I placed the failed migration report in front of him. "Then sign it yourself." He did not touch it. That silence told me he understood the risk. The major review happened Friday morning. Daniel called it, and the room included Martin, Chloe, Priya, me, 2 executives, and compliance. Chloe spoke first. She said the launch was on track until I became disengaged after declining a promotion. She called the credit dispute a misunderstanding and claimed I had retaliated by withholding approvals. One executive asked me, "Are you using certification to settle a personal dispute?" Before I answered, Martin said, "That's exactly what's happening." For a moment, he controlled the room. I opened my folder. The basic fact is Beacon has not passed readiness. 2 migration tests failed, training is at 62%, and the escalation contract is unsigned. "Manageable issues," Chloe said. Daniel asked, "By launch day?" "Yes." I placed the staffing timeline on the table. "The vendor requires 10 business days. There are 4. Martin claimed they had a verbal commitment. Compliance asked for documentation. Martin said it was coming. I continued. The earlier date added a $180,000 sponsorship and increased risk on a $2.6 million rollout. "Who changed the date?" an executive asked. "The growth team agreed," Chloe said. Priya spoke. I objected in writing. The room went quiet. Martin waved a hand. "Operations always raises concerns." I slid forward Priya's email and the performance document that misquoted her. She also never made the statement attributed to her. "Correct," Priya said. Martin tried to shift back to my behavior. "I'll address that," I said. I showed the original Beacon proposal, the version history, and pilot approvals naming me as lead. Then I showed Martin's revised history listing Chloe as sponsor before she joined the company. Chloe said, "That was probably an administrative error." "Maybe, but it matches the award program, internal post and promotion structure." Martin's voice sharpened. "We're not here to debate credit." Daniel looked at him. "We are now." I placed the final email chain on the table. Daniel read the line about Chloe owning the narrative, the compensation package, and my dislike of conflict. No one spoke for several seconds. Chloe finally said, "I didn't write those emails." "That's true, but you presented my work as yours after you knew I objected." "Dad said the company wanted one spokesperson. He also told you I would do the execution." "That's what the promotion was for." "Exactly." Martin called it normal succession planning. Daniel replied, "Normal planning doesn't involve backdating project leadership." Merton claimed someone else drafted the history. Compliance asked who approved it. He did not answer. Then Chloe said, "Ethan was never going to be the executive face of Beacon. He doesn't have the presence." I heard the hallway sentence again. The blue folder. The expectation that I would keep working while someone else rose on it. I looked at Martin. "You said I build the ladder and Chloe gets to climb it. But you can't call it her climb when every rung has my name on it." No one laughed. No one dismissed it. Daniel asked whether I would certify the launch if the date moved and the risks were fixed. "Yes, I'll complete every legitimate duty in my current role. I will not accept the promotion, report to Chloe, or sign a false readiness statement." That was my final boundary. Daniel paused the rollout immediately. That was the red status bar from the beginning. 42 sites went on hold during a formal review. Merton told me to restore my approval. I did not. The launch moved by 3 weeks. North Star lost the conference spotlight but kept the clients. Migration problems were fixed. Training reached 96%, and the support contract was signed. The investigation took almost a month. Merton was removed from management, then left under a separation agreement. I was not told every detail. Chloe lost the vice president title and was reassigned to marketing with no authority over Beacon. She never apologized. She sent one message saying I had ruined her reputation over presentation credit. I did not answer. The company corrected the project history and publicly named me as Beacon's creator and product lead. It felt good, but not as good as I had imagined. Recognition could not erase the fact that someone I trusted had studied my weakness and built a plan around it. Daniel later offered me a different director role. It reported directly to operations and gave me clear authority over product readiness. I did not accept immediately. I requested the duties, reporting line, and promotion criteria in writing. Priya reviewed them with me and challenged 2 vague sections before I signed. The raise was slightly smaller than Martin's offer, but the job was real. The authority finally matched the accountability. For weeks, I still wondered whether refusing the first promotion had been reckless. I had turned down money I needed and risked being labeled difficult. Part of me also grieved the mentor I thought Martin had been. But I had confused silence with professionalism. I thought avoiding conflict made me loyal, when it often made me convenient. The first promotion was not an apology. It was the price they expected to pay for my cooperation. I learned that a boundary can cost you something and still be necessary. Sometimes the most important career move is refusing the title that requires you to disappear inside it. So, was I wrong for refusing the promotion after my boss gave my project credit to his daughter, or should I have taken the money and fought for recognition later? Share your judgment in the comments and subscribe for more original stories.